Everyone to stick with us versus herd. If it's your first time here, you like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications for when we go live or post videos, tap the bell. And if you want to join the UVH fam, links are below in our description to our Discord, along with our free options trading group on Facebook. If you're here right now, say what up. We're just getting going here. NVDA just posted their earnings. S&P's pretty much flat today. SPY was only up 45 cents. SPX was up $2.50. Dow was down a little bit. NASDAQ recovered. But Dow was down, what, like 90 points at one point in time today? Tactical, what's going on? Glad to see you. How you doing? Making money. If you guys made money today, comment got paid. If you lost money today, comment learned a lesson. Let me know how you guys did. Looking at NVIDIA right now. Right now, NVIDIA is not really doing a whole lot. Pretty much just it's up what? $3.50. What's going on, Jeff? Technical got paid. Nice. Very nice. Looking at what the NVIDIA earnings call. The call, I think, is what, in an hour or so. But right now NVIDIA is really not moving anywhere. It's just chilling. JCS2, AMAT for the win. Yeah, I mean, AMAT just they had earnings too. They're on the call right now. So it's kind of looking at these guys. Ariana got paid on Facebook. Nice. John learned a lesson. It happens, man. It happens. But yeah, let me pull up these NVIDIA. So what we got. Let's see what we got. Where is the... Come on. So looks like revenue was 2.8 billion to 3.1 billion versus 3.07 billion. EPS, they beat $1.78 versus $1.58 expected, and revenue was 3.01 billion versus 3.18 billion a year ago. So revenue's down. Revenue's down from a year ago, but they beat on EPS. So let's see what was guidance, because that's really what we want to look for, is what the guidance was. Kids broke my phone. I had to get another one real quick. It's always the kid's fault, or is it the parents' fault for giving them the phone? I get it. I got kids of my own, so I get how it is. But let's go into, while that stuff's loading, go through. I do have an NVIDIA trade on. I did take my Walmart trade off. I did have a Walmart Iron Condor. Now I only made a couple bucks on it, but I think with fees I actually did not. So yeah, my Iron Condor on a Walmart from yesterday. Rewards got paid and learned a lesson. Nice. So I needed Walmart between 116 and 126. Essentially, I had an Iron Condor, sold it for bought it for 32 cents, sold it for 30 cents. And Walmart, we'll come back to NVIDIA, because I'm gonna go over my NVIDIA trade as well. Walmart this morning really wanted to run. It really wanted to push. I thought that, they beat earnings, everything was good. I didn't really want to mess around with taking a loss or anything like that. I would rather break even or lose a couple dollars than go, max loss or something that Walmart wants to rip up. So, it gapped up. Obviously, it faded. This would have been this. I checked at some point today. These contracts were going for like 5 cents. I bought it back for 30 cents. So, you know, we definitely could have made money on this, but I think the risk was too high because it was really wanting to push up. It pushed as high as 125.35. Sergio, man, thanks again for the $2. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, so Walmart was pushing up. If we look at the 5-minute chart, it still looks bad. But I just didn't want to take the chance. I mean, I closed out at 831. Should have probably played out. The same thing happened last week to Booking. So Booking, I was actually break even and I got out, and that would have been max profit as well on that earnings. And then today, I mean, on Walmart, but you really can't look back. You just got to do the best you can. And you know, I would have been happy with 50% profit or something like that. But now this trade is going for, yeah, basically it's worthless now. Yeah, it's going for 1 cent. So, you know, I know Walmart's not generally a big mover, so that's why I sold some premium in there, but just came out with a $2 gain or a $4 gain or whatever. You know, I had 2 contracts, so it wasn't a big trade, but I guess for me, I've been trying to balance the super low volatility. I mean, things have been super boring. One thing is trying to balance your risk versus reward, because if you risk too much, you know, they're going to bleed you out when things are moving very slow. You know, so that's kind of where right now I haven't really, like today I took off Walmart. I only did 2 other trades. Disney currently down a little bit on that. Currently down. Yeah, they really sucked premium out of there. So I'm down on Disney. I bought a strangle on the 150 break. Let me show you here. I have the 152.50 call and the 145 put. Now I'm kind of leaning that we go down. Obviously, cost me 286, but right now I'm down 86 in the position. So that position on Disney is only going for like $2. So they really, yeah, this is going for exactly $2 right now. So they really just sucked the premium out of there, just being so flat on Disney. But it does look like Disney wants to be heading down. I mean, I did buy next week's expiration. I'm not trading this week, so I do have some time on it. So I'm not in like a huge rush to get rid of it or anything. Yeah, Sergio, I'll look at Starbucks in a second. Waiting to see what NVIDIA going to do. Might play tomorrow. Yeah, Keith, appreciate it. Squids, what's going on? Glad you're here. So for NVIDIA, the trade that I have on right now, NVIDIA is really doing nothing. I think they're waiting for the conference call. I mean, probably. I wanted to sell a premium in there, but I was too scared that we were going to get like a beyond 10% move. To be honest with you, with NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, what I did in there is I bought the December 6th. So I have 22 days for 432. I bought the, let me show you what I have going on here. So I bought the 195 put, and then I have a debit put spread a debit call spread at 225.46, 225.27. So you know, I'm down a little bit on that position right now. So we'll see kind of what's going to happen with NVIDIA. You know, kind of my thoughts behind this trade was obviously it was a bearish trade. I did want to have some protections in place. So at the time this was going for like 50 cents, 55 cents or something like that. It's a little bit higher now. So I was looking for like a 50-cent protection. Excuse me. And I was actually leaning toward the bear side. I think that NVIDIA is going to go down to like the 190 area is what I was thinking. Right now it's relatively flat, but I thought that it'd probably want to retest this. But you know, you don't know how long it's going to take to get there. Also, NVIDIA only had an IVA rank of 23. Options weren't very expensive, and the expected move I thought was, for this far out was $17, which was relatively low. So that's kind of why I went towards buying a position versus doing a credit. I was looking at credit positions, and there wasn't really anything that what made me want to risk money for, and that's kind of what you always have to, you kind of always have to figure out, like, okay, no matter what trade you put on, you're going to risk something, but it depends. Is it worth the risk? Is it not worth the risk? You don't want to just go in blind. You have to have a plan. So my plan is 22 days out. I want NVIDIA to be at 190. Essentially my plan. Now, if that doesn't happen, I'll see if it goes to the upside, 225. I'll cash out this, and then maybe I'll buy an additional call or something to balance it out. But my max profit on, I think I got this for like 55 cents. My max profit on this is like 195. So then I'm gonna have to figure out a way. If this trade goes against me, how to make up the remaining. This cost me like, I want to say like 350. I had to figure out how to balance the rest of the trade out to get that extra dollar back. So what I usually do when like something like that happens is then I'll buy like another call here. I'll wait for the premium crush. I'll wait for like a flat day. I probably won't be doing anything since I have so much time. I'm not going to be like trying to make changes right away and do anything quickly unless I was obviously profitable. But what I will probably do is let's say tomorrow NVIDIA is like 215, 212.50 or something, or just even 210, and these get crushed by like, these get crushed. I don't think these will get too much of a implied volatility crush because we're kind of still in the range of the expected move. I do think that it'll probably make a run. If it wants to go to the upside, it probably will make a run to 220 in the next month or so. It did hit 218 already. Now it looks like NVIDIA wants to go down. So, that's kind of my thoughts. I mean, I almost didn't trade it, but figured it was pretty. This was as safe it was going to be for me to trade NVIDIA earnings. Yeah, it did cost me some money, but we got some time on it, and I think that'll work out. Ariana, yeah, we'll look at Netflix and then look at Starbucks for Sergio. So Starbucks, they had earnings a few weeks ago, right? And they did pretty well. They beat earnings, but they sold off. So, I definitely think that's probably going to make another test, a run towards like 87 and see what happens. But right now, this is still pretty bearish on the 1 year. So, I would definitely monitor it and have some protections in place if you're going to be trading Starbucks. But for me, I would like it to break out at like 87.50, go above, go to like 88, and try to break out the other way, or go below 80, and I would like to trade it there. For me, 84 is not that interesting. Netflix. Netflix recovered pretty well today after their sell-off from yesterday with all the Disney Plus news. Netflix did ink a deal with Nickelodeon to do movies and TV shows as well. So, man, they're really sticking in NVIDIA. So Netflix, let's see here. Netflix, the problem with Netflix is it's been really having a hard time around the 290 area. It looks like it, this does look like it wants to push up, but every time it does, it keeps falling. I mean, it did shoot up for earnings, but that sold off. You guys remember that when it ran up on earnings and then just sold off, went from 308 all the way back down to 264 in 3 days. I mean, that was... Netflix for me is not one that you could trust like going long on. You know, it looks good. Looks like it's going to start to break out. Looks like we have a breakout here, and then sells back off. You know, and then every time it tries to push up into like the 290 area, you know, it keeps revisiting it, which is good, but it keeps dropping. Tesla had consumer report news today regarding the recommendations. They're saying they're going to recommend Teslas again or something like that. You know, this is still pretty bullish. I mean, what I would like to see out of Tesla is some sort of consolidation. You know, I don't want it to keep moving. I want it to kind of create a base consolidation. You know, kind of like what Microsoft did. You know, create some consolidation, create a base, consolidate up in here after a nice run, consolidate something like this, and then start running. You know, Microsoft's now starting to run again after another week and a half of consolidation here, right below between 144 and 145, and now it's starting to run back up. You know, for Tesla, I would like to see some of that. Like, I would like it to rest between like 340, 360, and just get ready for that next leg up to the 400 range, because we look at the 3-year here, you know, pretty much 290, 280 area is a top. You know, it's confirmed many times that every time it gets in that area, not only does it sell off, but it sells off hard. It sells off like 100 points hard. You know, so just be mindful of that. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, every time it runs up, like these big run ups lead to quick downfalls. You know, like look back in here when it went from 305 up to 280 or 380, it fell hard. Then again, we ran back up, and then it fell back down, and you can see that it just pops quick, and then it sells off quick. You know, Microsoft can go pound sand. Sounds like you're selling some premium in there, Keith, and it went against you, selling some calls in there. So I think in terms of the health of a stock, I mean, Tesla's been a roller coaster for years, you know, with reports, bad reports, good reports. You know, then you had the whole Elon Musk, like, you know, taking Tesla private 420, and that whole thing, whether, you know, pretty much illegal. So, you know, pretty much illegal that he did that, but it still happened. But even with all of that happening, I mean, 380 up in here is dicey, very dicey. So, and you can see there's really no consolidation where it's at right now. I mean, it's tried in the past and failed. So I think for long-term growth, like for a shareholder, like, you want to see some sort of consolidation. You don't want to see these huge rip ups because they're going to lead to huge rip downs. You want to see kind of flatness. You want to see some, but so far we're not really getting that. I mean, right now, the most flat it was last week. Last week it was just, well, it was like 2 weeks ago now. When it was like at 309, 308, 310, when it was consolidating in here, but didn't last. It didn't last very, very long. Microsoft is slow right now. Yeah, Microsoft is a turtle. And I guess we should have sold some premium on NVIDIA for tomorrow. We could have sold some premium as well. You know. Anyways. JD, I didn't trade it, but it was interesting to me. JD has earnings tomorrow. JD is a Chinese stock, and it's currently, well, it's at 33.87 after hours right now, and it's currently sitting up here at the highs again. So this is like another one that's kind of like Baba, a little dangerous. You know, Baba is actually, you know, it broke out from earnings, but it's come back down due to the missing expectations for Singles Day. So, what other stocks do you guys have here? See if there's any other news on NVIDIA. It says NVIDIA earnings point to an end of year revenue decline. Let's see what this says here. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Forecast comes up as short of Wall Street consensus, but still suggests first year-over-year gains and after four quarters of declines. NVIDIA forecast to return to revenue growth after 4 quarters of declines. Thursday afternoon and beat estimates for quarterly results. Yeah, it says NVIDIA shares fluctuated between gains and losses following the release of the report and was up more than 1%. That may prove to be a disappointment for option traders who are hoping for a big swing either way. So they're going to burn that premium up. But yeah, the net income $8.99, $1.45 a share, and I feel like the expectations was just kind of low. J-Rob, what's going on? But I guess if you have 4 quarters of declines, they start lowering expectations. So, and that's kind of like the, I'm not going to say it's kind of like the scam, but you know, when you start lowering the bar, it takes a lot less effort to step over it, right? And that's what a lot of companies do over time. Like, so when they had 4 quarters of declines, expectations get lower and lower and lower, and eventually they're going to exceed those expectations because they keep lowering the bar, and then they can, you know, eventually rise above it. They did see a decline in revenue. For the fourth quarter, NVIDIA expects revenue of $2.89 billion to $3.01, up from the $2.21 billion a year ago. So they're expecting a revenue bump. Revenue calls versus puts 2-to-1, according to research. Yeah, the calls were looking heavy. I mean, people were thinking this thing's going to pop to like 220. You know, I'm definitely kind of on the, you know, for me personally, you know, my opinion, I think that I'm more bearish towards NVIDIA, mainly because of a lot of, if we look at NVIDIA and we go to the 2-year chart, right? Let's go to the 3-year chart. 3-year chart. Now, 3 years, you know, 3 years ago they were at $83, and they went up from 83 to 120, and then they really catapulted. And then what got them up to 292? What got them up into this range here was that whole crypto FOMO thing where people would pop in graphics cards left and right. But right now it's not necessarily profitable to be mining Bitcoin and some of those other things. So that's why, you know, this huge run. So I don't think that's why, you know, crypto is not as hot right now. So that's why I'm thinking it's not really the equivalent. People were saying that it's going to hit all-time highs based on, you know, its previous run. You know, it did take quite a while, but it did happen, you know, until things just fell apart here last October. And it's just never recovered. And right now, I mean, 220, you know, it's gonna take some work. I mean, it did hit 218 after hours, but it also hit 202. So we'll see. We're gonna see what happens in the conference call. But right now, it's really doing nothing. It's just burning up premium. So I'm definitely, like, in terms of my position, you know, I'm definitely glad that I went like 3 weeks out, because I didn't want to be messing around with tomorrow. The problem with me buying premium, I don't buy a lot of premium for earnings. I mostly sell premium for earnings. And then the biggest thing is, like, if you're going to do tomorrow expiration, you better be selling premium, because you got a lot of factors against you. I mean, if the stock doesn't move, like if the stock opens at 210 here, everything's going to be worthless. I mean, that's why it works to the option seller's advantage. So that's why when I bought premium for this, I wanted to push it out as far as I kind of felt the risk reward was going to work out. NVIDIA question: do options go to zero when a stock is halted? No, they just don't. They just don't allow them to trade. The options will still be worth what they were. Obviously, the halt, depending on volatility, the halt will do what it's going to do to the stock, and to the option price is going to be all messed up. But in terms of AMRN, they'll still trade when it opens back up. You just can't buy or sell anything. Nike just increased their dividend 11% and took their product off Amazon. They're getting aggressive. Buck, what's going on? David Pritt, thanks so much for subscribing, man. Yeah, Nike. Actually, I haven't traded Nike. I've been trading it kind of off and on, and it is a stock that I have been liking to trade because it does move, but you have to really get the direction right, because there's almost no time for it to. You don't have a lot of time for it to settle before it rips the other direction. So, I've been learning how to trade Nike, and it's been making some consistent returns. I kind of stopped trading it when it was below 90 to see what was going to happen. I haven't tuned back in, but now it's back above 90. I'm definitely interested in trading Nike again. Yeah, I mean Nike. I mean, they had that pilot with Amazon that started in 2017. The main thing with Nike selling on Amazon is they were very skeptical, because giving someone else control, giving Amazon control over your brand, over your distribution, for a big company like Nike, they don't like that. They want to handle distribution from factory to be the middleman to then into the consumer's hands, right? Nike wants to have full control over that aspect. They don't want, because Nike wants to recommend their products when Amazon's going to say, hey, you bought some Nikes, you might actually also like Adidas over here too. We found these great Adidas at this great price, and they're going to compete differently. And I think that Nike just wanted more control over that entire process, because everybody wants to build, no one wants to rely on another company for distribution. They want to do it themselves because they're going to make more money. They're going to have more control over the customer. They're going to have more control over the entire process. And I think that's what they want back, And apparently, in the 2 years they were doing it, it didn't really net what they wanted to net. The main reason why they did that trial is to get Amazon to be more aggressive to stop counterfeit products being sold on Amazon. So that was the whole incentive, and apparently that didn't really net enough for Nike to retain that relationship. Which is kind of interesting. Is also, remember a few months ago, FedEx ended their relationship with Amazon as well, and saying, hey, for the long term, we're better off without you than we are with you. Yes, we're going to take a hit in revenue, and our stock's going to drop in the short term, but long term, thinking ahead, we're better off without you, because now you're coming into our space, and then you're going to fire us anyways, right? So, Julio, you got a strangle on what? NVDA? Right now, this stock is so flat. It is just flat. Sounds like Amazon is attacked from all over. Yeah, I mean, but Amazon has been attacking everybody, and they're reverse engineering the entire process. So back in the day, for Amazon or for companies, it was always brick and mortar. Everyone was brick and mortar, and then they would go online. But now Amazon started offline. They put brick and mortar business out of business, and now they're building retail locations. So they're reverse engineering the process, which probably pisses off a lot of people. Is they want to go online, but now they're building brick and mortar. Amazon is opening up their first grocery store coming up, and they've also been, I guess they've already opened, and I know in Chicago they have one. They have some downtown. I've seen. I didn't go in one just because I don't really care, but nothing I really wanted to buy. But they're like 7-Eleven convenience stores. So once Amazon laid into retail hard over the past 15 years, they're now getting that real estate dirt cheap and then building brick and mortar. And then when they did that Whole Foods deal a couple of years ago, remember they bought Whole Foods, and that was a pretty big brick and mortar business that they took over, but they're now doing the grocery delivery through it. So it's all kind of coming together for Amazon. So yeah, I mean, Amazon's under attack, but Amazon has been attacking since they've been online. They've been just a vacuum sucking in everybody. Putting, they put, I don't know how Barnes and Noble I don't know how Barnes and Noble held on, honestly. Barnes and Noble has held on through the recession, through this whole process, and Barnes and Noble's still here. Borders Books went out of business in like 2 minutes after all this started happening, I just made a return on Amazon 4-store in downtown San Jose. Yeah, and then they have the incentives, so they inked the deal with Kohl's. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kohl's. I don't know if they have that everywhere, but in Chicagoland they have a lot of Kohl's. And you have the option to return your Amazon item to Kohl's, and when you return it, Kohl's actually gives you a 20% or 25% off coupon to shop at Kohl's. So like the ladies really, I mean, I know my wife does, the women just like, hey, they like to go to Kohl's, they buy stuff from Amazon, and they're like, oh, even if I'm not going to keep this item, I can get 20% off, an additional 20% off at Kohl's. I'll go return it at Kohl's, get the 20% off, shop there, then order it again on Amazon. So it's this cycle. This cycle, they suck you in. And I think that was a good deal by Kohl's. Basically Amazon's using them as a return hub, which kind of sucks, but Kohl's is using it as a sales opportunity to suck in some of those Amazon customers. Yeah, Buck. I was actually going to pull this up here, so let's take a look. Let's take a look here. So Berkshire Hathaway stake in Restoration Hardware, which is RH. Let's see what the deal is. Let's see any other deals. Okay, here we go. Warren Buffett conglomerate added new investment. Oh, that's in petroleum, worth around $332 million. Berkshire revealed a new stake, formerly known as it's called RH now. So Restoration Hardware is called RH. Berkshire decreased its stake in Wells Fargo by 7.7%. Berkshire owned 1.2 million shares of RH. RH surged 6.7%. So that might be a good play coming up in the next week or so. Long RH, short Wells Fargo. But I mean, who wants to be long Wells Fargo anyways? Thoughts on Walmart when you get a chance? King Odin, I did play Walmart earnings, but only came out with $4, which basically paid for my fees. So I have shares at Apple. Well, he already has shares at Apple. So let's look at NVIDIA's at 208. Man, they're killing the premium on that. RH. Man, when did Restoration Hardware we get to 188? I felt like last 3 years it's so it's gone from 84, low of 84 up to 192, so 175 right now. I don't know if how liquid these options are. And not really much volume on the calls, not really much volume on the puts. So the few people that did trade option on this are going to be sitting fat tomorrow. Oh, Berkshire cut stake in Apple. Yeah, I mean, I think, which is kind of, I think that Warren's position in Apple was never really that serious. Like, it was a very small position for him. Not saying it was a small position by any means for us, but I feel like it was a small position. He's cashing out on the run, reducing a risk because he probably doesn't see he doesn't really look at technology companies the same way that other people do, and so yeah, that Apple probably gonna take a hit. Wells Fargo's a little flat after. I mean, it dropped a little bit, but I mean, Wells Fargo is back in action, back up here, all-time highs. But all the banks are pumping right now. JPM, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. But I mean, I think Wells Fargo. I mean, I think we can all agree that it's probably one of the shadiest banks that's in business right now. Did I buy Beyond stock? I did buy Beyond stock I think it was at 90. So I'm currently down on that position. It's currently what, 80.43 right now. So I mean, Apple's not going anywhere. I do think that they're going to have some sort of pullback. I mean, they're just riding high. They've been riding high since 220. I mean, this has ripped $40 since beginning of October. So in 6 weeks. So I would actually like to see like back down to 240 or something like that. But for me, I'm not going to go ahead and short it. It's just a low volume. As you can see here, volume is relatively low. No volume. And it's just having a very slow grind up. All right, let's go. Do I think Walmart is going to go to 129? I don't think so. Based on the price action today, I mean, I had an iron Condor on it. I was selling the 126 calls, and I don't think so. I honestly think that it's probably going to be chilling back between 120 117.50 again. I mean, but that's my opinion. I mean, it could, but you know, we really need some volume, and as you can see here, there was some nice volume today, but all the volume was selling volume. I mean, today was the biggest volume day since last earnings, and it was bigger volume than last earnings too when they gapped up. So they sold that thing. It was up like 4%. It hit a low of like down 1% at one point, and it closed just 33 cents down. But you know, doesn't look good. I thought that I was gonna. They beat expectations for Walmart. Walmart they did amazing things. They beat expectations, and then I thought they were gonna be like, oh yeah, we're going to be, you know, we're going into the holiday strong. We're expecting strong sales, and that's why I sold my iron Condor, because I'm like, man, this thing could blow up to like 130 if things are going well. But then after the price action came out today, I'm thinking it's just gonna be trading sideways, like just in the 120 area, maybe 122.50. You know, I'm thinking 117.50, between 117.50 and 122.50. But I mean, you know, we could. I don't know, in terms of the market. I mean, we really need we're just on this very low volume grind up, and we need a catalyst. And right now, the Fed says they're gonna chill. There's no trade war. I mean, there's a trade war going on, but there's no trade deal going on, and they don't think they're going to be rolling back tariffs anytime soon. So Trump asked Supreme Court to let him keep tax returns secret. He's got a lot to hide. He's got a lot to hide. You know, for someone that's president and says they're doing amazing things, he often tweets about how not guilty he is, and then you always see that he's always trying to hide something. So, you know, I'm not trying to be political or anything. I'm just laying out the facts. You know. Yo, Health Rebel, what's going on? Waiting for Big Daddy Buffett to buy up my WBA. Well, hope you got a ways out, because it could be a sideways grind for a minute, man. I mean, they could land the deal tomorrow or not at all. So hope you have some time on that trade, because it looks like it's gonna be flat. See, fit down, fits chilling as well. Danley, the Powell pivot ruined all the fun. Yeah. I mean, really, the question is right now, finishing out Q4 2019, Are we going to be getting a Santa rally, or this December are people going to start taking risk off? You know, we're relatively, if we look at SPX, you know, people are touting that, oh yeah, we're up 20% on the year, blah blah blah. But we started off really bad. Like, we started off in the hole. You know, we started off, so 2018 from October to December, we sold off for 3 months straight for the most part. I mean, we had up green days, of course, but you know, SPX, S&Ps, we sold off for 3 months straight. And then the final nail in the coffin was from December 12th to December 24th. They just laid into the selling. It just went off. So we started out like down here, and then we ended up the first day of the year. The first day of the year, the S&Ps was, let's just call it 2,500. We started off at 2,500 when, you know, we were riding like 2,700 area was like a median in 2018. So we sold off basically 300 points. We started off at a 300-point deficit, and then we ripped up, right, in 2019. So yes, we are up, but we also had a red year last year. We went from a green year down to a red year on the S&Ps. So, I mean, I guess that's a plus. You know, we're doing good, but at the same time, I think that we need some sort of catalyst. So the question is, are we going to be getting a Santa rally, or are we going to get selling into December? Right now, October, we started to get some volatility, but that all but dried up. I mean, volatility is dead now. We're back down here. I mean, VIX is currently 13 /VX 13 as well. And we're back down here at our yearly lows of 11 and 12. 11, 12, 13 is our yearly lows on VIX. I mean, we need something to happen. Do something. So right now, I think the market's just in a holding period. Like, are we doing a trade deal? We not doing a trade deal? But we've been saying, you know, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this thing for 2 years now. And honestly, I wish they would the market wouldn't react so much to that trade news, because it's just kind of annoying at this point. Talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and again, you know, and nothing ever happening. So we'll see what happens. BBBY. Let's see here. 14 call, November 29th. Let's see here. Yeah, 26,000 volume on that guy. Yeah, I mean, today was a pretty big day, pretty big reversal. I mean, this was an obvious downtrend here. It bounced off that like the 1330 area. So, you know, it's kind of tight. For my trading style, I prefer to trade like breakout. So if it gets to like 1510, or 1525, I would put a position on. Or if it gets to like 1295, I would put a position on. But like for me to go from like 1380 to potentially 1450, I feel like for me there's not like enough juice to squeeze out of that position to make it worth my while and risk. Yo, I got a November 22nd Microsoft 150 call, and it does look possible. The one thing about Microsoft though is it usually disappoints like in the morning. Today was good. Last couple of days have been good, but a lot of times it sells off in the morning, like this sells off before going back up. But I mean, Microsoft has been trading slowly up. You have the 150 calls for next week. So as long as no bad news comes out, we should be good. You should be good. I mean, this has gone from 8 cents up to 50 cents. I don't know what you paid for it, but You know, when Microsoft was stuck below 145. I mean, it was just bleeding premium. There goes my 2215 call on NVIDIA. Is it doing anything yet? No, I mean, NVIDIA is flat, but yeah, premium is going to get burned. So, I mean, I'm trading the December 6th, so I got 21 days out now. ACB, let the mother burn. Do you trade patterns? I'm more of a support and resistance trader. ACB. Yeah, I mean these. I didn't even look. What did Tilray do? Man, these weed stocks are just getting hit. 10% hit from 330 down to 3. Expected move was 63 cents. It was expected move like 20%. Still within expected move. So Disney, I'm hoping it comes down to like 142.50 area right now to get me out of that position. Cash only business cookbooks. Yeah, I mean the weed stocks are super sketch, man. Yeah, NVIDIA is just flat. So we'll see what happens with NVIDIA. But right now it's gonna, you know, anyone that bought premium is just gonna get, including me, it's gonna get murked. Any other stocks you guys want to look at before I sign off here? I think we had some nice convos about Amazon, NVIDIA, Nike. Nice conversation today. Thoughts on dark pool? What do you mean, like thoughts of what I think about dark pool trading? Like people looking at trades on the dark pool? I mean, I guess the thing is, you know, kind of like tinfoil hat time. I mean, you can dive as deep as you want or not, and you can find whatever information that you want to find. I mean, you can do all the research, you could dive deep, but, you know, what I find that works for me, I mean, whatever, you know, this may be different for you, but what works for me is just looking at the price action and looking at the 1 year chart and compare it to the daily chart. So if I'm doing a day trade or if I'm planning a trade out that's further out, I don't really need the dark pool to tell me, you know, what type of volume is on a certain type of call or anything like that, you know. You know, sometimes it's good to look and get confirmation of kind of your thoughts, but you sometimes, for me, too much information is just, it's not helpful. It actually becomes hurtful. I'm going, what do you think of AMRN? I mean, it could go either way, I think, on AMRN, Dennis. I'm long Boeing to 450 buck 500. Yeah, I mean, if the 737 Max gets in production, one thing with their October orders were down. If they can get the 737 Max back in play and they can get their orders back up, I mean, I don't. It should be a $400 stock, $500 stock. By the way, I just realized that UVH on your wall is us for sure, but all this time I thought it was your university's name. I don't have a diploma, man. I don't have a diploma. The streets taught me everything. We're from the hard knocks, you know, where you fall down and scrape your knee, you got to get back up yourself, you know. Do you think AMD will break 40? Actually, let's see what AMD is doing, Tobin, on this NVIDIA. So they're not going anywhere either. I mean, I do think that AMD's on a breakout here. You know, once we've talked about this quite a bit. I mean, once you have a breakout, as you can, kind of like Apple, it can go on for quite some time. I mean, if you're looking at Apple again, you know, once you have a breakout here above the 220 area, it can go on, for quite some time. So that's why shorting all-time highs, shorting breakouts is not necessarily the best play. You pretty much, like for trades like this, you got to go on, you got to buy the red days and not think it's going to crash down to 32. It's scary, but you got to hang on for the ride. So, I mean, at the rate that it's going, I do think that it could go to 40. It's never been to 40, so, you know, good. Very good. Illinois. So up, even if the planes fall in the sky. The one thing that I learned, King Odin, about like Caterpillar and Boeing and those type of stocks is because the institutional holding is so high, it doesn't really matter how ethical or things that happen to those companies. What matters is that they buy the dip. You know, they just look for the recovery, and most times for the institutions, for these types of companies, they go in and layer in and buy it all they can. You know, it sucks. It sucks for the consumer because there's no downside for the company that's causing harm, like Johnson & Johnson, Boeing, that have actually, you know, killed people with their products. It doesn't reflect the stock price, and that's kind of a problem, you know? So, I don't know. You know, kind of like the whole Roundup, you know, the whole Roundup thing, Monsanto, all those lawsuits, Johnson & Johnson. HD earnings tomorrow. Joshua, I didn't talk about HD earnings. I didn't actually, they're not tomorrow, are they? Oh, November, HD earnings is the 19th. 19th. So we're looking at Tuesday. What should be a good trade. Raytheon could be a new competitor for BA because of the merger. Agree. All right, guys. Well, it's good chatting. Hit me up in the Discord. Link is below. I'm pretty much chill there all day, every day. Post my trades in there as well. You know, if you guys like the content, hit the like button. Definitely appreciate hanging out with you guys, talking about our trades today. Everyone, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.